In the last stream, we were working on finally crafting the creative capacitor from Immersive Engineering, and now that we have it, we have an infinite amount of redstone flux per tick to use on any of the blocks or items in our base, and so going forward, power is not going to be something that we have to worry about at all. And in today's stream, I want to push forward through this challenger's questline and see if we can't create some more of the items required to get closer to the You've Won quest that is going to mark the end of this pack. So the next major quest that we need to complete is this one right here, the quest for the ultimate singularity. And in order to make the ultimate singularity, we have to craft together 21 different component singularities, those being electrum, steel, lapis, uranium, emerald, coal, cactus, redstone, slate, andesite alloy, dried kelp, regular kelp, iron, copper, diamond, silver, wood, aluminum, lead, nickel, and glowstone. Now, each one of these singularities is made in the quantum compressor, and each one requires 5,000 of the given item. So in this case, we need 5,000 electrum ingots, and that will make one electrum singularity. And so in total, I believe we're going to need 10,000 of each item on this list, because I think that we only need 2 ultimate singularities, one to make the infinite storage part, and one to make the infinite fluid storage part. And I think that's it. I don't think any other recipe in the pack requires the ultimate singularity. I guess I'm technically wrong there. It does appear that you can craft 64 compact machine wall if you craft one ultimate singularity with 8 blocks of coal. However, I don't think we'll be doing that. That is going to allow us to make some compact machines, but at this stage in the game, I don't think it's worth spending an ultimate singularity to make a compact machine. I'm not quite sure why that recipe is quite so expensive. It doesn't seem like it needs to be. Either way, the good news is that for the vast majority of these singularities, we actually already have all of the items required. So everything that we set up in the last stream over here has been chugging away between streams, and so now each one of these is full with 73,700 ingots, which of course is way more than the 10,000 required. And so I think the only singularities that we don't have 10,000 items of are cactus, slate, andesite alloy, kelp and dried kelp, wood, and glowstone. I think those are the only ones we need to worry about. I'm going to press A to bookmark these. These 7 over here are the ones that we're going to start working on in today's stream. And then from there, we're going to start looking at making an infinite storage part, which is going to allow us to store an infinite number of items in our refined storage system, and an infinite fluid storage part, which we don't really need, but it's a quest and is going to allow us to store an infinite amount of liquid in our refined storage system as well. So I think one of the easiest to get going might be the slate singularity. What we should be able to do here, and actually, real quick, I do want to take a detour. I want to get some light blue dye, because I would like to rectify a mistake that I made in the last episode, and if we can, turn that back to being light blue until I accidentally right-click it again with a different colored dye at some point in the future. But what we should be able to do here is very quickly teach our system how to make blank slates, if we just go ahead and encode that, and then down here, we should just be able to drop that into our diamond crafter, like so. And at that point, I think we should just be able to request 10,000 blank slates. We've got 10,000 stone. If we hit start, that stone is going to get moved in, and we should have enough witches down below to keep this going, to keep this full. And so hopefully, slowly but surely, over time, the blood altar here will produce more blank slates. Right here, this is not currently set to actually accept blank slates, but we can rectify that by adding blank slates to the whitelist. And for now, I will remove the imbued slate from there, because we don't want any slates staying in and turning into imbued slates. But as soon as these turn into blank slates, they should get pulled in, and over the course of the next probably a few days, this should produce for us 10,000 blank slates. So that one is taken care of. The next one that's also going to be, I think, fairly easy for us to do here is cactus. I think what we can do with this is just come on over and repurpose some of these garden cloches that we have here. They're currently making sugarcane. We have 1,996 sugarcane in this drawer. if we just swap these out for cactus, and then of course make sure that we have flux points on the top of all of these. And apparently our system doesn't know how to make Eyes of Ender. Is that correct? That is fine. We can go ahead and quickly encode that recipe and drop that into our crafter. Once we have those, just like we did in the last episode, we can use our flux configurator to very quickly paste in the pre-configured setup onto those, so we don't have to go in and manually configure each one. So we'll do that here and here. And so now that should start producing cactus. We can go ahead and swap this out if we just grab another regular drawer and drop that down where the sugarcane is, like so. We do want to make sure that we add an upgrade to that, at least one of these tier 5 upgrades, because by default, of course, this can only hold 2,096 cactus, and ours does need to be able to hold at least 10,000 if we want to come back to a large amount of cactus. But much like with the slates, this is definitely going to be a kind of set it and forget it situation. This is going to slowly but surely make cactus for us, and when we come back for the next episode, there should be hopefully more than 10,000 cactus in this drawer right here, and hopefully we'll have the 10,000 slates as well. The Twitch chat has pointed out that it is going to be sensible for us to put a stack upgrade into the importer over here. That's going to allow the system to pull a full stack of blank slates out at once, and it looks like that is correct, because it looks like we have a problem here where the slates didn't get pulled out fast enough, and so some of the slates got turned into imbued slates, which is not what we want. So let's go ahead and make sure that we have that stack upgrade, and let's put that in like that. That should mean that as soon as the stack of blank slates is ready, they all get pulled in at the same time. And if we really wanted to, we could of course take things one step further and get 3 speed upgrades as well, just to make sure that there's no chance that any of those blank slates stay in long enough to get transformed into our higher tier of slate. Back up here, let's go ahead and we can get rid of this setup for now. We're not going to need this going forward. We're also not really going to need any of these constructors or destructors over here either, but there's not really much point in tearing them down just yet because we don't need the space. But andesite alloy, I think, might be the next easiest one here. This requires, of course, 10,000 andesite alloy. Up until now, we've been making this in one of two ways. We've been either crafting together 2 iron nuggets and 2 andesite, or we've been using the mixer with 1 andesite and a zinc nugget. I think you can also use an iron nugget there as well. You can. But I think this might be the better way for us to do it going forward. If we just pull molten iron over an andesite block, we get 1 andesite alloy, and we can automate that much in the same way we've done with this stuff over here. We could just have a creative tank full of molten iron, have that pull down into a casting basin. If that casting basin has a block of andesite in it, that's going to produce an andesite alloy that we can then import into the system. And so the only tricky part is getting enough andesite, and as luck would have it, we can actually pull molten quartz over cobblestone, and that produces andesite. And so I think we'll start on the opposite wall over here. We no longer need these coke ovens, so we can get rid of those. But if we mirror this setup that we have over here, and we don't really need all of these either anymore, we can get rid of this like extended setup that we have and just pick those all up. But if we replicate a similar setup on the other side, we can have molten quartz, which we get by just melting quartz in the smeltery. That can go down into a basin with cobblestone. That's going to produce andesite, and then we can have that andesite go down into a basin with lava, and that will produce the andesite alloy. And then once that's automated, we just have to wait, and over time, that will produce the 10,000 andesite alloy required to make the andesite singularity. We are all out of creative tanks. We have this one right here, but we don't have any extras, and we are going to need at least 2 if we're going to get molten quartz and molten iron going here. I guess in theory, though, we could probably repurpose these tanks. I don't think we're going to need more than 74,000 of each of these blocks. So honestly, we could probably just take these. It's not going to look as good because there's going to be no tank there. But if we just take 2 of these tanks and repurpose them, I think it's going to be fine. So over here, let's say we have molten quartz in here. That's going to go down via a fluid pipe into this basin. This basin is going to be full of cobblestone. That's hopefully going to produce the andesite for us. We can then pull the andesite directly out of that basin down into another basin that we can put right about there. And then that one needs to be full of molten iron. So what we could potentially do is maybe have this basin here, and then have maybe the tank there like that. That way we could extract down there into that tank, and then we could also have item pipes pulling the andesite down like that into this basin, and I think that should work. So let's go drop some quartz into the smelt tray. So boom, and boom. Let's pull out the molten quartz. We already have a bucket of molten iron in the system, so we don't need to do that again. That is fine. I think we are going to want to get at least 2 more exporters. One of those to export cobblestone. And actually, that's it. We don't need 2. We need 1 because the andesite's just going straight down into the basin. So let's do molten quartz up there. Let's do molten iron over here. Now, there's possibilities here for a problem. I don't think we're going to run into a problem because I think you can put the liquid in first and then put the cobblestone in afterwards. I don't think that the cobblestone has to go in first, but let me test that real quick. If we grab our pipes wrench, can I put cobblestone in afterwards? I can't, because if I put the cobblestone in afterwards, like, it's already drying into a block of quartz. So that does matter, which means that we are going to have to put the cobble in first and then extract the fluid. So we might have to set something up more complex here. Like, we might have to set up a system that like turns off the pipe if this doesn't have a block in it, but we might not have to do that. I want to try something here. It might be possible that if we just put a fast exporter down, that the exporter is fast enough to always beat out the fluid pipe, especially if we don't upgrade the fluid pipe to be ultra fast. This might work. So let's quickly run some cabling around to our pre-existing cable, which is just under the floor over here. So export cobblestone. That should put cobblestone into here. The Twitch chat seems to think it's not gonna, like, this will be fast enough, even without any upgrades, but let's give it a try. If we set that to extract, does that work? That obviously works because we extracted it first, but let's set this to extract as well. Does it work after the fact here? No, that's not fast enough. Interesting. Okay, so the pipe here is faster than the exporter, but right now the exporter has no upgrades in it. So let's try getting 4 speed upgrades. We did make granite there. The reason we made granite is that if you put molten quartz over diorite, you get granite, and if you put molten quartz over andesite, you get diorite. So what we need to do here is just set this to extract very quickly using this diamond pipe upgrade, and we need to add andesite to the whitelist to make sure it pulls out the andesite before it gets turned into anything else. So whitelist, add andesite, and submit. And so now let's put in those speed upgrades into the exporter, like so. And let's see if that works. So this is, let's take this out, whatever it is. Let's put cobblestone in. Let's set this to extract. That's going to make us andesite. So that doesn't work. It didn't pull the andesite out. It turned it into granite again. And even then, the exporter is not fast enough. It didn't put any cobble in. It just fills up with quartz because it's too fast. Okay, so this isn't working, unfortunately. However, I think there's an alternative that might even be a better solution. So, as we saw earlier, you can craft diorite and cobblestone to make andesite. I think we used this recipe right at the start of the series, and we can make diorite by crafting together cobblestone and nether quartz. And because we have an infinite amount of molten nether quartz, all we have to do is put down a casting table with a gem cast, and that's going to produce infinite nether quartz for us that we can then just use in our system to request that we create 10,000 andesite. And then from there, we can export that 10,000 andesite into a casting basin that's connected to the creative fluid tank, and that's going to make all of the andesite alloy that we need. And even if we didn't want to do that, we could also just use the old recipe. If we really wanted to, we could use the recipe that's just iron and andesite, because we do have, again, like 74,000 iron ready to go, which is 664,000 iron nuggets. So we're not really short on iron nuggets. So really then, let's get another casting table. I don't know if we have a gem cast. We do not. However, we can make one by pulling molten gold over a gem of some persuasion. We could even use nether quartz if we wanted to. In fact, we have 50,000 nether quartz. So I think we just need cobblestone, right? If I quickly head on over this way, even if we use the less efficient recipe requiring 2 andesite and 2 iron nuggets per andesite alloy, that means we're going to need 20,000 andesite and 20,000 iron nuggets. We know we have the 20,000 iron nuggets. That's easy. In terms of the 20,000 andesite, for that, let's quickly teach our system how to make andesite from diorite in code. Let's make sure we get that. It's not set to exact, so I think that should be fine, but let's, just to be safe, I'm going to put 1 cobblestone there in code, and then let's teach it how to make diorite using nether quartz. Again, just to be safe, I'm going to do this, and in code, and let's drop both of those in over here. So now, if we were to request the 20,000 andesite, there we go. So we just need 19,000 cobblestone, and then the andesite is good to go. And of course, at that point, we could also just request 20,000 andesite alloy. And again, the only thing we're missing here is 38,000 cobblestone. So really, I think cobblestone is going to have to be our next big investment, because cobblestone is also the answer to the wood singularity. So we need 10,000 logs. And just like we did right at the start of the mod pack, if you take cobblestone and you drop it on the floor, after, I think it's about 60 seconds, that piece of cobblestone will turn into 1 piece of wood. And so all we have to do to get 10,000 oak wood is drop 10,000 cobblestone blocks onto the ground and then have like an item collector that's filtered to pick up all of the oak logs once they've transformed. And then at that point, we can just pump those into a quantum compressor and we will get our 2 wood singularities. So the andesite alloy and the wood singularity really just need cobblestone. So I think the fastest way for us to do this, to generate cobblestone, is going to be with lava and water, like this, and then using a destructor from refined storage. Okay, so just to make our lives a little bit easier here, I'm going to grab these 2 creative tanks. I'm just going to fill those with lava and water. I think we'll repurpose this room here. There's really no need to keep this around, and plus breaking it down gives us all of our constructors and destructors back. We are going to have to get rid of the wooden floor here, because otherwise the lava is definitely going to destroy that. But that shouldn't be a problem. And then we'll see about using these destructors that we've just picked up to gather some cobblestone. We are going to get more than just regular cobblestone, because it's only a 50% chance to get cobblestone. We also do get, I believe, regular stone as well, which is the system we were using previously. But I think that should be fine. So let's do something like this for now, and then we'll get rid of these as well, and we can replace those like that as well if we wanted to. And then let's go ahead, and I think we could just do something like this. If we put cobblestone in the middle instead of seared brick, we can have these all be right next to each other for optimum density. So I'll have cobblestone just going all the way through the middle, and then I might even try and do it here as well, like if we get rid of this and this. I'll come back to those. I'll see how fast it is without those, because that is going to be a bit more awkward. But for now, if we just put water and lava down around here, and again, I did pick these fluid tanks up just to make my life a little quicker, because we can just do that, and then grab a regular old empty bucket, and then start just filling this up like this. Again, is this bugged? I think this happened last episode, right? With the jerry can. It duplicates the bucket. It duplicates whatever item you try and use to pull a bucket out of the tank. So we can use this to get an infinite amount of buckets. Again, we don't need an infinite amount of buckets. Far from it. We have an infinite amount of iron. So getting infinite water here isn't going to be a problem, but it's actually more awkward than anything, because it empties out the tank, when really I would just like to click, 6 times to get 6 full buckets. Instead, I have to switch back and forth between the water buckets and the regular buckets. But either way, there we go. We should have the cobblestone generators ready to go. And so now it should just be a case of putting down the destructors. And with these, you can add speed upgrades to make them a lot faster. We didn't previously, because there was no need to. And also, I'm a fool who doesn't know how, who has seemingly forgotten how vanilla Minecraft cobblestone generators work. You have to put the water blocks 1 block further back with a drop in the middle. So let me quickly rectify my embarrassing mistake there. So this is what we need. We need the water to go down 1 like that. So once we have this set up correctly, we can try again, destructor down. That should break the cobblestone. Again, right now it's not particularly fast, and it does occasionally break stone. That might start to fill our system up with random ores. I don't know if it actually breaks the stone or if it breaks it in such a way that you get random stuff. I think it's going to break it in the way you get random stuff. We can rectify that by breaking it with Silk Touch. If we add a Silk Touch upgrade to it, that will just break the stone and we'll get actual stone instead of getting random ores. But that does also mean that we would have to give up one of the speed slots, which might not be worth it. But let's take a look here. If we get 4 speed upgrades and put those in here, that should start breaking the cobblestone a fair bit faster. It's not crazy fast, but the problem here is really just how fast the cobble is replaced. It takes a little while for the cobble to form back together, which is not great. Of course, we can do this multiple times over, like that. And of course, we can get 16 more speed upgrades to make that even quicker. So these are all fully upgraded. Again, it's not super quick. We are starting to get more cobblestone. It would be nicer if it was significantly faster, but I think this is probably the fastest way of us getting a large amount of cobblestone. Crunching the numbers, it looks like we're producing about 9,000 cobblestone an hour with this setup, which should be fine. It does mean that we're not going to get the 50,000 that we need today, but it does mean that if we come back in the next episode, we should have a ton of cobblestone. 9,000 multiplied by 24 is 216,000. So long as it's going into a drawer that can hold a lot of cobble, which it is, we could put even more upgrades in there if we wanted to as well. And that does mean that we should come back to a very large amount of cobblestone and more than enough to make all of the andesite alloy that we need. And we should also put a void upgrade in there as well, just to be safe. But it should be more than enough to make all of the andesite alloy that we're going to need, as well as all of the wood that we're going to need as well. So yeah, we'll leave this for now. We should come back next time to all of the cobblestone that we're going to need and should be able to just request all of the andesite alloy that we need for the andesite alloy singularity, and we should be able to drop 10,000 cobble to get 10,000 wood, and so those should be taken care of. And so let's go ahead and unbookmark the slate, the cactus, the andesite, and the wood, because those are all somewhat taken care of. Some of them do still require work, but I think we've done all that we can do today on those singularities. So the 3 that are remaining now are kelp, dried kelp, and glowstone. And kelp and dried kelp are basically the same, because obviously dried kelp is just kelp that has been smelted. So here, we have a few options for how we want to grow kelp. Unfortunately, unlike the cactus, you can't grow the kelp inside of the garden cloche. So we are going to have to find a separate way of growing that. There are a few options. There are some vanilla options we could use. However, I think one of the cooler options is going to be to try and utilize this guy right here, the mechanical harvester from Create. So this guy is really nifty. You can place down a mechanical bearing right here, and if you apply rotational force to that mechanical bearing, it will rotate the blocks connected to it like this. And if you have your mechanical harvesters attached to these blocks that are attached to the mechanical bearing, you can use it to automatically harvest crops. So I think that we could set up a very large farm harvesting kelp, potentially entirely underwater, utilizing this system, because of course it does have to be underwater in order for the kelp to grow. So we'll see about getting this to work. Before we do that though, we are going to have to find a space to put it, and right now we don't really have that much space around. So I think what I might do here is I might add a new floor to the base that is above here, because this is bedrock, but below up there, because up there is this level here. So I might set up a new floor just beneath the witch farm. So if we kind of just dig, I don't really want to dig that way because then the witches are going to get me. So instead, let's dig this way. And then let's go down and let's set up a new floor right about here. Okay, so I've dug out quite a large room down here. We're going to go for a quite big kelp farm, which is hopefully going to get us the kelp that we need fairly quickly. The idea here is that we're going to have water going all the way up here, which have these 3 blocks full of water. This whole room is going to be a giant pool of water. The kelp is going to be at the bottom. And then we're going to have the contraption with the mechanical harvester 1 block further up. So let's go ahead. Let's replace this diorite here with an elevator, just so we can teleport back up. And then let's have a look. So if we're going to make this happen, we need the mechanical bearing this guy right here, which shouldn't be too difficult. It does require a turntable, but that is also a very easy recipe for us to make. And then, of course, we do need some more piston extension poles. And boom, there's a mechanical piston. And then, of course, we do also need the harvesters. So I think I'm going to try and make 8 of these harvesters if I quickly teach the system how to make those in code. The system already knows how to make andesite alloy and iron plates. It doesn't know how to make andesite casing, but we might have enough of that. Let's have a look. If we request 8 mechanical harvesters, nope, we're missing 5 andesite casing. That should be fine, I think. Yeah, that is going to be a piece of cake. Once again, mechanical crafters. Let's go with 8 and start and start. Now, in order to connect everything to the mechanical piston, we are going to need some of these linear chassis. If I press W to ponder here, the linear chassis move in groups, so they connect directly to the mechanical bearing, and then they all rotate as one. So I believe what we can do here is we can place down the mechanical harvesters onto the linear chassis, and then they will all move as one around the kelp farm. Oh, chat is correct. I've made the wrong item here. This is the mechanical piston, not the mechanical bearing. I said the right thing, but made the wrong thing. The mechanical bearing is this guy right here, which again shouldn't be too difficult for us to make. And then let's have a look and see if we can't make some of these linear chassis. Again, these are really easy. These are wood and andesite alloy. Let's go ahead and teach the system how to make them in code. That way we can just request them and they will make all of the requisite parts for us. So let's go ahead and request like 10 of these. I really don't think we're going to need many of them, and it should get completed almost instantaneously. So I think, also, let's get the crank just so we can do a bit of testing here. So I think what we can do, and also we should put down some torches down here, although it's going to be water, so I don't think it's going to be a problem soon. Of course, we have night vision, which is what's clouding our judgment at the moment. But what I'm thinking here is if we have our mechanical bearing like this, and of course we do want that to point upwards, which I think we can rotate with our wrench here. We totally can. Then we probably want to have this on here. These do have to face the same way, like that. Let me just test. That does work. And of course, under the water here, we can have another little room that we use to have our power in. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. So let's leave that there. And then let's do one. Actually, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that. We're going to leave a 1 wide gap at the end because you don't want these to connect. And then let's rotate these. I'm not quite sure what the number on these is for, but that's fine. So now, if we rotate this, the whole thing spins. And it does knock me as it goes, which is pretty cool. And then from there, let's see about going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that. Do these, like, do they rotate? Oh gosh, that's broken. But I don't know, because I can't see. Oh no, they do work. They do be, they are spinning. Nice. Okay, I was a little concerned that, that the whole thing would spin, but that the mechanical harvesters wouldn't spin. But this is working just fine. So I think this will work underwater. I'm not entirely certain. If it doesn't, this whole thing is busted, but I think it will. Maybe. It's possible that if it ever stops, the water might disappear, because I have a feeling that if there's like water, you know, where it's going to stop, it might get rid of it. Like, for example, if I put water here and then I get rid of that and then we spin it such that it stops there, that does get rid of the water, which is not ideal. However, it only ever stops at these 4 distinct points. And of course, there will be more water either side of it to instantly refill the gaps as soon as it starts moving. So I think it should be fine. And so what we need to do now is we need to fill this whole room with water. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down like just a line of cobblestone, place the water on top, and then break the cobblestone again, just so that we can easily place the water down over the whole area of this room. And then we can place the kelp down. Once we do that, we can then look at getting some more create power down here to get this thing moving. And at that point, I think we should almost be good to go. The only thing that we might want to look at then is potentially where we're going to put things. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, if we put like some sand here and we get some sugarcane real quick. So if we put the sugarcane down like this, just as a proof of concept, I think right now it might just break the sugarcane and drop it. It does. Right. Okay. However, I think if we put a chest on the contraption, I think the sugarcane should, in theory, just get deposited into the chest. So if I put a chest like there and we do the same again here, and we give this a quick spin. Right now we've got 61 sugarcane. We got 62. It didn't pick it up. Oh, we have to glue the chest down. Okay, I see. Thank you, chat. Thankfully, the glue is very easy to make. It's just 2 slime balls, 1 iron nugget, and 1 iron sheet, which is currently being made over with our mechanical press. There it is. So if we glue down, I assume by right-clicking, the chest, like that, and then we do this again, the sugarcane is broken, and some of it got deposited into the chest, but not all of it. I think it might just be this one piece that gets deposited. Let's try that again. 61. Yeah, so that made its way in the chest, but any that goes higher doesn't get deposited into the chest. That just gets dropped on the floor, which is unfortunate, because there's then also some cool stuff that you can do with an interface. These guys here, if I ponder real quick, the portable storage interface. This is super nifty, because what you can do with these is you can put one onto your contraption, like this, with super glue, and then you can put another one off the contraption, as it's going to show you here. And then as the whole thing rotates, it will stop when it gets to the connection, and then these will connect, and you can suck out all of the items. So we could have a really cool system where the chests collect all of the kelp. All of the kelp is then transferred via these interfaces out onto belts and then out into our system. But unfortunately, if it doesn't collect anything above the first row, that might not be too useful. Chet does make a good point in that it's possible the kelp might not grow that fast. If the kelp doesn't grow fast enough, it's possible that it will collect all of the kelp. Because, of course, we could also just put down like an advanced item collector that is just set to collect all of the kelp in the area. But again, I think it's going to be cooler if we do use these interfaces. Yeah, okay, I'm with it, chat. Let's give it a try. Let's see if we can make this work using the chests and using the interfaces. So real quick, let's fill that in. Let's quickly grab some cobblestone. We're already at 4,000 here. And let's see. So it must be making way more than 9,000 an hour. But let's see if we can't fill this room with water. There are some people in the YouTube, there are some people in the Twitch chat who want me to test if this is going to break all the water as it spins. I'm fairly confident it's not going to. I'm fairly confident it's only when it stops that it's going to break everything. But if we give this a spin here, it does spin, which is wonderful. And yeah, it doesn't break anything as it spins. It does not like regrow here, but I think that's fine. I think the kelp will still grow here. Like if we have some kelp and we put it down just here, this is still going to grow even in the spot where the bearing has been. So over time, I say over time, just like as we go, we're going to end up with bits that look like this. It's not going to look perfect. We could, if we wanted to, have made the water one higher. And if we did that, it would have probably fixed the problem. People are also saying the kelp will recreate the source, which I guess is also good. But even if it doesn't, even if this is how it looks, it should still be functional, if nothing else. So let's throw all the kelp down. We actually don't have enough kelp to fill the room just yet, although we do have some bone meal, which we could use if we want to speed things up, although it does look like it's growing pretty fast, actually. And then let's also see if we can't make those 2 interfaces and use those to extract the kelp. So the storage interface is just a brass casing with an andesite funnel. The andesite funnel is just some andesite and some dried kelp. Let's go ahead and request that. We are going to do 2 of these. How much brass casing do we have? Just the 1. Hopefully we can make a second one. We cannot because we don't have any brass sheets, although I'm assuming that we could probably teach our system how to make brass sheets using the metal press. Encode. Let's go ahead and drop that in round here. Like that. And then let's see, can we request the things required to make another brass casing? We totally can. The andesite funnels are ready to go. And then hopefully we should be able to get our first portable storage interface. And then ideally we can make our second batch of brass casing and our second portable storage interface. So now let's have a look here. I think we could also do with another ender chest, because I think the ideal situation here is us just having another diamond ender chest set to blue that is where all the items go. So all the items are extracted from the system, pumped into an ender chest. That obviously pulls them in here and they get deposited directly into the system. So as per usual, the ender chest here does require some wool, which we can make from our string. Does need to be white. We also need an ender pouch, which we can make. We've got the leather for it. And then it does need to be white wool. Let's go ahead and do this. The only thing we're missing is some blaze rods. We could do with getting this connected up to our system, but for now, the ender chest is done. Let's go ahead and grab some blue dye. We'll take 3 of those. So let's see. I don't know if you need a belt for this to work. You might need a funnel for this to work, but we'll find out. So let's dig a bit of a space over here because we are going to need space to make this happen. Actually, I guess we could put one here, like that. I think, again, it does need gluing down. I don't think it'll just work by placing it on, so I think we need to break this, then glue here, then attach this here, then we can put the other one here, like that. I think that's gonna work. Maybe. And then we can put our chest here, blue, 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 and right-click with the diamond. And so now that should work. I think this is maybe good to go. Let's give it a try. If I spin this, and we are now getting drowned around here as well, which is less than ideal. But if I spin this, he's gonna get moved with me. I don't know if I have to keep that going for it to work, but I think that's right. It looks like we might need a funnel here in order to pull the items out at the end. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. And again, maybe I think the andesite funnel should do the trick here. I don't necessarily think we need a brass funnel. So we might not be able to go directly into the ender chest like this. We might need the brass funnel like that to extract out. My inventory is filling up with junk from all the breaking that we've been doing. But let's do that. I think we might have to rotate that to outwards like that. But then I think from there, it's possible that we could just have a hopper, because I think the items will just fall out instantly from this. So I think you might need a belt. I'm actually not entirely certain, I'm not gonna lie. But it's possible that we could just do this, and that might work. So there is stuff in here. Let's see. If I just spin this, I can't. I need to go down so I can spin it like continuously. Also, let's go ahead and just end this man real quick. There we go. So let's try this. Yeah, that looks like it's going, because it stopped there for a second. I assume it's moving items out. We'll know if it's worked because there'll be no... Yeah, there'll be no sugarcane in this chest. Yeah, there isn't. Perfect. Okay, so it is working. The question then becomes, did it actually get put into the system? And I think it did. I think it actually worked. We're at 555. Let's quickly try that again. If we take like 1 sugarcane here and we drop that into the chest, like that, let's see if we can get back up to 555. And there we go, it's back up to 555. So we know it does work, which is fantastic. We do also have 17 kelp here as well. And so now, what we need to do, we need to fill in the rest of this ground with kelp. So as kelp comes in, we need to get even more, we need to replace it down, just replant it on the ground here. But we also need to continually spin this, this system here, which means we need some more create power. And I think we're going to mix things up a little bit. We could, of course, if we wanted to rebuild or even move the current wind turbine that we have over here. Like, this will work down there. However, there are multiple other ways that you can create power with create. One of those being the flywheel. This is a pretty nifty little device. It's also not too difficult to make. It requires 8 brass ingots and a brass casing. We did just make some more brass casing, and we do have more than 8 brass ingots here. So if we quickly run those over to here, I think we can just do this. I might have to use a button to reset the crafting. Like that. And there we go. We have a flywheel. Nice. Now, in order for this to work, we do need a furnace engine. This guy right here, which again is made in the mechanical crafter, this time with 2 brass ingots, 5 brass sheets, 1 piston, and 1 brass casing. So let's go ahead and request 5 brass sheets. That shouldn't take too long. We'll take 2 brass ingots. As for the sticky piston, we should have everything we need for that as soon as we request that a piston be made. And then in the middle, it's just another one of those brass casings that we did just make. And it turns out it doesn't even need to be a sticky piston. We can just use a regular piston. So that is exactly what we are going to do. Let's put down the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brass plates with 2 brass ingots, 1 regular old piston. And in the middle, it was, of course, the brass casing like that. place down a button to make sure that we can reset the crafting. And there we go. We have a furnace engine. So the way that this works is you can take a regular old Minecraft furnace, like this. We can place down the flywheel, like so. You then want to place down the furnace engine on top of the furnace. So place the furnace down. I think about 2 blocks away is good. Place the furnace engine on top of it. Make sure that you don't do what I did there. You want to place it down like this. And then you'll know it's worked when you see these little cables here connecting the furnace engine to the flywheel. And then now, if we get, for example, something that we could smelt, like one of the many ores that we have in the system here, and we get some kind of fuel, like the coal that we have, we can drop the coal in like so, drop the ore in, and then as that smelts, that's going to spin the flywheel, and in turn, that's going to generate 16,384 stress units of create capacity, whereas over here, we only have 2,000 with this turbine. Now, we can take this one step further, because we have the add-on mod known as Create Crafts and Additions, which adds the furnace burner. This is super nifty, because it adds a furnace. Let me just shift right click to get rid of that. But it adds a furnace that will burn nothing. So you don't have to be actively smelting anything. So if we just go ahead and again request that an alloy be crafted, we can then do this. We can place down the furnace burner, again 2 blocks away. This one you can't open, but you can put the furnace engine on top of it, like so. And then now, if we were to grab something like a hopper, item pipes would also work. We can place that hopper down like so. We can grab some coal. Again, any fuel would work. And if we put the coal in the hopper, the coal will be fed into the furnace burner. And you'll see in the top left there, the fuel is going to burn for a given number of ticks without the need to actively be smelting anything. So I think what I'm going to do, I think what's going to make the most sense here, this system, this mechanical crafter system, is very, very, very slow right now. And that's because over here, our wind turbine is not massively fast. And so I think what we're going to do, I think we should use this system with the flywheel to power this wall of mechanical crafters. Because don't forget, we do still have to make the everlasting guilty pool, which is made in here as well, and is going to be very, very slow otherwise. So I think we should take this wind turbine and use it downstairs to power our kelp farm, and then we should move the flywheel over into here and use that to power this setup on our wall. All right, so I think this should be good. If we go ahead and dump some of our stuff here into the system, and then just right-click up on the bearing, like that. Let's go start spinning. We can replace that there. We can quickly drop down to the bottom here and then use the elevator to get back up. I was hoping it would be faster. Oh, there we go. Let's drop down and just jump back up. There we go. And look at that. This thing is spinning. It's going around. It's going to harvest the kelp as it goes. And it's going to deposit the kelp as well. The Twitch chat is right that over here we can shift or twerk to make that kelp grow a little bit faster. And then obviously as it comes in, we can take it out. People did recommend replacing the andesite funnel with a brass funnel because that's going to allow it to move the items out faster. So it might be worth quickly crafting up another one of these electron tubes. That is going to require some more polished rose quartz, which should be fine because we do have the ability to make rose quartz and we still do have the sandpaper as well. So if we stick that on our offhand and just do something like this, we can hopefully very easily here craft up another electron tube and then craft up another brass funnel. We do need one dried kelp, which should not be a problem. We do have a very fast furnace upstairs. And boom, there's our brass funnel, which hopefully is going to move things just a tad faster. So here, I don't know if we can break this contraption. Like, oh no, we don't need to break the contraption because this is on the back end, right? So let's break that, and then let's do this, and then let's rotate that to make sure it's pointing outwards. That might go faster. People are telling me that if I take my wand and I hold my kelp in my offhand, that we can potentially just place down the kelp using the wand here. Oh, you totally can. Look at that. That's incredible. That's so much faster. And then we can, of course, shift to make that kelp grow faster. And then as this guy comes around, we should see all of that kelp get harvested again. Hopefully this is maybe a bit faster, maybe a lot faster than it was previously. Look at that. All right, so this is up and running. It's not the fastest thing in the world. It is spinning and it is generating kelp. Of course, the ones at the edge are not going to get harvested, and the ones directly around the bearing in the middle here are also not going to get harvested. It's not massively fast. However, I think it's going to be fine. We've managed to get 871 kelp. We need 20,000 kelp in total, which is quite a bit. But I think what we can do here, we can do a few things. We can increase the speed at which this thing spins. Right now, obviously, it's spinning at just the default speed. I have made a mistake here. I shouldn't have put this directly just like onto it. If we, like we did before, if we get our rotary speed controller, we can use that to accelerate the speed at which this is spinning, because this is producing 2,048 stress units, and we're only using, I think, 32 up at the top. So if I quickly repair my hatchet and then move this so that it's one further down, we can add in the rotary speed controller and then make it faster. Okay, so I've moved this down by a few blocks. So our windmill is here now. I can right-click that to get it going again. And then we've got a couple of gearboxes moving that up to the cogwheel, the rotary speed controller, that is. And then, of course, we have more gearboxes taking that up again to our contraption. So how high can we take this? We can take this pretty high. Again, we do have 2,048 stress units. This might just be, like, too fast. But it looks like we can go all the way, which is fantastic. So let's head down and then head back up. And so now this thing is... that thing is going at quite some speed. It's maybe faster than we need it to be. It's a little too fast, I think. It is going the wrong way. That's true. It's not even working. Okay, so we need to flip the direction, which we can do with a gearbox, and then we also need to maybe slow it down just a tad. Like I think technically it might be fine, but it is a little bit busted. So let's do this. Let's turn you way down. Let's try like 32 for now, and then let's do just a double gearbox here. The gearbox will rotate that for us. So just one more gearbox like that should rectify the problem. The kelp doesn't grow that fast. However, if I shift around it like this, we can get it to grow really quick. And helpfully, this thing does move me around as well. So we can hopefully spend a bit of time between streams just doing this. We are currently not moving the kelp out of the hopper fast enough. It's getting stuck here. So what we might want to do potentially is just use an item pipe with an advanced pipe upgrade. I think, as bizarre as it seems, I think that we can just use that to extract out of the hopper. I know how hoppers extract themselves, but if we do this and this, that should extract out of the hopper faster than the hopper can naturally extract itself. And so, ideally, what we can do then is just shift as this moves us around. And then in doing the shifting, we can make these grow basically instantaneously. It looks horrific as it... like moves us around the screen, but we should, in theory, see a massive influx of kelp. We're already at 2,000. We only need 20,000 in total. We just need to make sure we don't drown. And so getting the 20,000 kelp between streams really shouldn't be too difficult with this contraption. So now the only singularity left, we can get rid of dried kelp, we can get rid of regular kelp, because again, those will hopefully be done by the time we come back for the next stream. The last one here is Glowstone, the Glowstone Singularity. We need 10,000 Glowstone. As mentioned before, there are a few ways we could do this. Once we have unlimited mana with the Everlasting Guilty Pool, which we are going to have to make sooner or later, we could then use that to get 10,000 Glowstone from 10,000 Redstone. Alternatively, we could probably get 10,000 glowstone just from the nether. We can also crush torches as well. Like, this is a possibility. If we had 40,000 torches, we could get that down into 10,000 torches fairly easily. But I think going through and using the nether might be a better solution. So what we can do here is we can make the builder from RF tools. That is this guy right here. It does, of course, require this machine frame, which does require the lamp of cinders. But we do now have a lamp of cinders. We got it for defeating the Twilight Forest, and it feels like we should definitely put that to good use. A steel scaffolding is going to be very easy for us to acquire. And then what was the last item there? It was a block of iron, which we also have many of. So all we need to do is reset up our 3 deployers with 3 depots, and then we can turn 1 brass casing into the machine frame needed for the builder here. So we might as well use our flywheel here. Let's do something like that. Let's get some shaft if we have it. We totally do. Let's go up to here, and then I guess ideally we would rotate these to all be in line. I think we can do that, right? Can I rotate these sideways? I can. Okay, so you just got to right click from the top to rotate them like that, and then once they're in, we can do something like this, but ideally that's going to face this way, and then we can place down 1 more shaft. And then now if we put some fuel into here, we should see that start to spin. And in an ideal world, if I put this down correctly as well, we should see the whole contraption spinning, unless I'm doing that on the wrong side. Do I have to do that here? I totally do. That is actually fine. We can do the same thing again. It is super janky, and of course, this is extraordinarily temporary. But there we go. That is working. So let's go ahead and let's feed... I think it was this guy first, then this guy second, and then this guy third. Obviously, I didn't put that down correctly. That is fine. Let's try putting them in. And then let's do this, followed by this. I should have checked first, but then we'll follow it by this. Again, I've been told... Hey, nice. I was told this doesn't get used, the Lamp of Cinders. It has like a durability, but it has a lot of durability on it by the looks of it, so we should be able to make many of these machine casings if we want to. But what we can do now is we can take our builder. We are going to need some bricks, but I think we do have the ability to craft a brick. Start and start. That's really all we need here, so let's go ahead and shift those in. We do have that ultra-fast furnace, so getting 4 of those is going to be very easy for us. There we go. And then what we can do then is we can craft a quarry card. This guy right here, the shape card quarry. It does require a regular shape card, which is yet more brick. Thankfully, we did request extra, so making that's not going to be a problem. And then the actual shape card itself is nice and easy to make. We then also need a diamond pickaxe and a diamond shovel. And boom, that gets us a quarry card. Nice. Now, if we're going to go for glowstone, we should definitely try and upgrade that to a fortune quarry card. That does require some dimensional shards, which we might be able to make. How many do we need? We need 4. We're missing 2 glowstone, of all things. That might be fine, because we do have some glowstone that we can use here. There we go. And then it looks like we're also maybe missing a gas tier, but maybe we can craft that. Oh, we can't. We're so close with the gland there. If we head on through to the nether, which is where we're going anyway, we might be able to get the 1 gas tier that we need. And then once we have that, we can use the quarry alongside a filter from RF Tools, this guy right here, and that's going to allow us to scan the nether and automatically collect all of the glowstone in a very large area. We are going to need a flux point for that. Again, that's fine. And again, the easiest way for us to do this is going to be using another ender chest. That way we can instantly teleport all of the glowstone directly back through to the overworld. Hey, okay. It took us a little while, but we did manage to finally get a gas tier. I think it took like 5 ghasts, but for some reason it just took so many. Like, it took so long to find 5 ghasts. That was insane. Either way, now that we have that, we should be able to upgrade to the fortune quarry, which is going to give us even more glowstone for every block of glowstone broken. And so I think we should be pretty much good to go here. Let's take a lever so we can activate the quarry. We've got a chest, we've got our filter, we've got a flux point. I think we're good to go. So if we head on through into the nether here, I think that glowstone does only spawn fairly high up. I don't know if JI is going to tell me how high it spawns, but if we hit F3, we're currently at Y level 76. I would be surprised if much glowstone spawns like above Y level 70, maybe Y level 60. This matters because we have to tell the builder where to scan for the glowstone. So if we go ahead and put the builder down like here, for example, if we right-click the quarry card here, by default it's set to box, which is what we want. We want it set to solid, and then we want to set the box. We can set this to massive. We can go 256. Actually, I think we could do 512 by 512. So these are the X and Z coordinates. So right now we're telling it to scan a box that's 512 blocks wide and 512 blocks deep. And then we'll say go maybe like 50 tall. And then we want to set an offset. So the offset here, right now we are at Y level 76. And by default, it builds the box or scans the box with the builder being at the center. I don't really think we want that because we don't want it to scan below Y level 50. Actually, that's probably fine. If we go 25 blocks up and 25 blocks below, that's actually maybe perfect. So if we put that in the builder, and by the way, you can click here again to open the UI. You do have to be careful. The UI can sometimes be bugged here, where it puts numbers in that you didn't put in and changes occasionally. You'll see sometimes there it was changing. But I think 512 by 50 by 512 is probably fine. And if we leave that as solid, that should be good. So really, all we need to do now is drop down our flux point. We can put in our filter. Before we do that, let's right-click the filter. Add tag. Let's type in glowstone. And then we just want forge glowstone. Double-click. That's going to add glowstone to the filter. And we can add that in here. So now, what this is going to do is it's going to scan this many blocks, like 1,310,000, oh sorry, 13,107,000 blocks that are in a 512 by 512 block radius, 25 blocks below and 25 blocks above the builder, and any glowstone that it finds, it's going to put in this ender chest above it. We're going to go ahead and put on 3 blues, and of course we're going to right-click with the diamond as well, like that. And so now it should just deposit all the glowstone into there. Let's go ahead and give it a lever and turn it on, and it's going to start scanning. And so now, if we make sure we chunk load this area, so we'll select it and then shift-click to chunk load it. Let's unchunk load this one, because we're actually out of chunks that we can load. We'll chunk load this one instead. We don't need that lava coming in anymore. But if we head back, we should see glowstone coming in. It's going to be hard to see it in the ender chest because it's so quick at pulling it out. But if we type in glowstone, we now have 2. We should hopefully see more glowstone coming in over time here. All right, so we've done a little bit of tinkering here because it seemed like it wasn't working, but I think it is working. I think it's just slowly but surely going to get there. You'll see that it has 1,089 chunks to scan. Of course, every chunk is a 16 by 16 area, so it's got a huge 512 by 512 block area to cover. It's going to go through and scan all of the blocks within our designated height range, and if it finds any glowstone, it's going to break those and deposit them as glowstone dust into the end chest. And if we head back here, I think we already have just about a stack of glowstone in the system, but again, it's only done a couple of chunks so far. Yeah, we've got 53 glowstone in the system there, so hopefully over the course of the next day or so, as the server continues to do stuff whilst I'm away, hopefully we come back and we have more glowstone available to us. Hopefully we come back and we have a massive amount more cobblestone available to us. We can use that cobblestone to make all of the andesite alloy that we need. We can also use all of that cobblestone to make all of the wood that we're going to need. We can hopefully get enough cactus. Over here we have managed to acquire almost 1,000 cactus. Again, we only need 10,000 and it's only been a few hours, so we should come back to a ton of cactus in the next stream, well over the 10,000 that we're going to need. And again, I'll spend a bit of time between streams shifting the kelp. We're already, I was going to say a quarter of the way there, but that's not true. We're already 1/8 of the way to the 20,000 kelp that we need. Once we have 20,000 kelp, we can smelt 10,000 of it, hopefully fairly quickly, using our rainbow furnace. And yeah, that should be it. And hopefully we've got 10,000 glowstone as well. Other than that, we already have all of the other singularities that we need. Oh, also, hopefully we have 10,000 slates as well. Let me go and check that those slates are still working. I think they should still be going. It seems like somehow this broke. I don't know how we got demonic slates there. It shouldn't have happened. Let me just quickly check. Do we have space in our system? We do. We've got loads of space. Okay. We do want to make sure we have a kelp drawer. We totally do. Fantastic. It's even got an upgrade in it, so that should be fine. But I'm not quite sure how that happened. I might have to keep checking in to make sure that that this continually does make us the right kind of slate. It looks like it's stopped for some reason. It has. Did I cancel the craft recipe? I might have cancelled it. Anyway, let's request another and 8,200, start and start. That should slowly but surely get that back together. I think I know what happened here. Earlier on in the stream, I did accidentally break a cable, which disconnected these network transmitters and receivers, and that will have disconnected the system down here. And when it got disconnected, that is almost certainly when those slates got transformed. And obviously when they get transformed, they're just going to stay in there because then they can't get pulled out, and they just get, you know, further and further along and keep getting crafted into higher and higher tiers. But this is all now back online, and so hopefully we'll come back next time to 10,000 slates, 10,000 glowstone, 10,000 cactus, 20,000 kelp, and we already of course have all of the other resources. We hopefully have a ton of more than 50,000 cobblestone, which we should have, and then next time we can come back, we can start making the singularities. We'll probably look at getting a few more quantum compressors just to speed things up a little bit, because it's not super fast. And yeah, hopefully we can make 2 of every one of these singularities, get ourselves 2 ultimate singularities, and next time we'll also probably look at trying to automate the spawning and killing of the wither, because we are going to need quite a few nether stars to get these raw withering processes, and we do need quite a few of these raw withering processes in order to make the infinite storage part and the infinite fluid storage part. And then in a future stream, we'll also look at Britannia and potentially mine colonies as well. But for now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's stream there.